minute or two, but things are going well. Good morning, everyone, or actually it's afternoon. I have been in my office and inside for so long, I don't know what is happening, but we are all here. We're all joining. We have a slightly smaller cast today because we are headed into our last episode of Rockport Studio Tour Live Season 1. We have been evaluating the COVID crisis and how we're adapting to it. And as you may be aware or may not be aware, right around the coastal bend area, we are having a spike in cases. And so it's very likely that we are not going to be able to have our studio tour as we had hoped in September. And so administration and the artists all got together and decided that we are going to officially cancel the 2020 Rockport Studio Tour to ensure the safety of all of our visitors as well as our artists and staff. So we thank you all for everything that you've done and how you supported us throughout these last 5 months and as we move forward. As we're going on, we are going to make some changes. We aren't gone, we're just taking a short break for a few weeks and we'll be back in September. In September, we're going to start as a recorded show where we will drop episodes every week, but we are opening up the recording episodes to feature all of our members at the Rockport Studio Tour. So if you are a member with an active membership, and we can look that up, or if you don't have one, I can help you become a member of the Rockport Center for the Arts. And we are going to feature a different artist each week. We'll talk about their individual studios as well as their artwork that they have available for sale, where they are being exhibited or located, and whether it's a local gallery or anywhere across the country where you may buy their work, and just show how their connection to Rockport and their connection to the Art Center is a great way to network and develop friendships that will last a lifetime. So with that being said, we are going back to the application process for this grant. Folks have been having a little difficulty back and forth. Some of it was about the overall process of why this is happening. That was episode 14. If you have any questions, start there. Go back to our YouTube channel, the Rockport Center for the Arts, and take a look at episode 14, how to make an excellent application for the new normal Rockport. Secondly, you can go to episode 15, which is what we did last week, where Doc led us through how to make a PowerPoint into a video. Now, it is not required to do a video for this application. I need to make that very clear. It is not required to do a video. However, if you don't do a video, you can only upload 3 files for your application. That's 3 pieces of artwork that you can highlight for your application. Some of you, that's more than enough, and it makes the application process relatively simple. For others, they have more of a story to tell. They've been through a lot. Rockport has been through a lot over the last couple of years through Hurricane Harvey and now COVID. We're rebuilding our art center. We're rebuilding our town. We're just on our feet again, and we want to keep standing up. And so we're moving forward. And this grant is a great way for you to do that. The only financial requirement is that you exhibit, that you display or explain how you have been affected. Have you had loss of sales? Have you had exhibitions canceled? Is your gallery closed where you exhibit? Have you had shows elsewhere that were canceled? Just let us know how Hurricane Harvey and COVID has affected your sales and or ability to create artwork. And this may be you directly, or maybe a family member. Maybe your spouse lost their job or was furloughed and is on unemployment. Then you count. You are affected. Please apply. Or maybe you just want to get your artwork in front of these amazing arts professionals. It's a networking opportunity at local museums who have connections all across the country. And I can tell you, when you're in a profession, people, your friends in the industry reach out to you and ask for suggestions. And we want them to think of Rockport, and we want them to think of you. So with that, I have one other from deadline.
I think you're breaking up a little bit.
Our exhibit, the new normal grant is due. We will be sending out an e-blast tomorrow to all of.
Hey, Carol, your bandwidth is a little low, so you're coming in a little choppy.
Okay, well, with that, I will be back with you in a minute. Doc, how about we take it away and do some roll call, and then I will work on my bandwidth in the meanwhile.
Okay. All right, so let me get this gallery view back up. All right, so to my left here, I have Elsa. Let me unmute her there. Hi, Elsa, how you doing? What you got going on over there?
Well, I'm good. I've been working on experimenting with using some aluminum panels to do some paintings on.
Oh,
You can
wow,
see
look
this.
at that.
This is they have a clear side, a smooth side, and a rough side. And I got some samples from Jerry's Artorama.
Oh, yeah.
So this one I painted straight oil, straight on the smooth part of the panel on my, and this is a tree right outside my backyard.
Oh, wow. Now, is that you said it was aluminum. Is it pretty thick aluminum or?
It's 2 pieces of aluminum and I forget what is in between. You can kind of see it's about, I'd say about a 1/4 inch or a little less.
Right on.
And then on the second one, what I did is I gessoed the rough side and then also painted with oil. It's another tree, of course. I just sat in my backyard and did those. But
Super cool.
I think I like the shiny side better.
They do. I like that shiny one better. It gets a little bit of glare in the background of it.
I love the shiny.
It depends where you put, how you hang it. But you can, I can imagine a nighttime scene or just a seascape. Anything would look nice with that. And the negative part would be the shiny part. So that's what I've been working on.
Right on, right on. All right. Well, let's move along here. To my right, I have Juliana. Hi, Juliana. How you doing? What you got going on over there?
Hey, y'all. I'm just working on this grant here and still.
The new normal grant due August 9th, everyone. It's been extended. August 9th. Okay, back to you, Julia.
And taking some photographs for that and still working on getting my in-home studio put together. So those are the things I've been working on today.
That is so exciting. I can't wait to do a mini tour of your new studio, your home studio. Do you get to keep that studio once school is back in session?
I do. It's very exciting.
That is super awesome. Cool. Well, we look forward to that. Thanks, Juliana.
Thank you.
Yeah, right on. Well, moving along here, I have next is Robin Hazard. Hi, Robin. How you doing? What you got going on over there? We'll have to unmute you. There we go. You got it. There
you go. Hey, Robin.
Hello. Hello. I have been taking care of dogs.
Oh, you know, we got a dog too. They love to make an appearance on YouTube.
Yes. As soon as I get on the phone or something else on the computer, then I have new best friends. We went for a drive on, I guess it was Sunday morning, and the sky was amazing, cloud formations and stuff. So I did a study for a painting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this will be in a much larger format after I finish this grant application.
Again, the new normal grant, Rockport to August. Been extended.
There we go.
Awesome.
Right on.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Robin. And just to give you all a teaser, Robin has agreed to be one of our first Rockport Studio Tour Season 2 episodes. So you all have that to look
Yeah.
forward to in September. Thank you, Robin.
You bet.
right.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
We are too. Right on. All right. So next we got Barbara. Hi, Barbara. How you doing? What you got going on over there? Gotta unmute you there.
Oh, you're muted.
There she is.
got
Now
it,
we can hear you.
Well, I've been painting and working on my room. But I wanted to tell Elsa that I did some really large paintings on aluminum one time. I really, they were really neat, and the luminosity of the paint came through. But they ended up being so heavy that I couldn't hang them, so we made them into end tables.
That's a great repurpose.
A coffee table, and they were great. So yeah.
I bet. Right on.
Oh, that's an excellent idea. Thank you. Wow. That would be a
Cool.
that would be a kind of a small end table that you have though, Elsa.
Yeah, well, tiny. Yeah, these were bigger.
Be for a dollhouse.
Yeah.
Barbie needs a table.
I
That's
do
right.
have a painting. I'm trying to finish. I have like maybe 10 paintings that want to be finished, but I can't make them. I'm still working. But this one is finished, and I'm going to put it on my Instagram post this week. And it's oil and wax, cold wax, and paint sticks on the wood panel.
Well, fantastic and
Super cool.
great. So you can check out Barbara's Instagram page, and I'm going to go back because I forgot to ask people. But Barbara, what's your handle on Instagram?
Sparkman Art.
There you go. Barbara Sparkman Art is also her website. And to let everyone know out there in our audience, if you go to the Rockport Center for the Arts studio, Rockport Center for the Arts website, and search events and Rockport Studio Tour, I have all of our artists listed, all 24 of them. And if they have a link to their website or their Instagram page, I have made that happen. So you can always view a little bit later and see that connection. And not only that, but if there isn't a link right now, I'm still tracking some down. Check later this week and it will be all good. All right, who's next?
Super cool. All right, moving along here. We got Kuvi next. Hi, Kuvi. How you doing? What you got going on over there?
You
We
got
gotta
muted.
unmute
There you are.
I've been wait.
We got you.
Can you hear me?
We can hear
Yeah,
you.
I can hear you, and I can see all your clamps in the background. And are those fishing rods?
Oh yeah, they're fishing rods up on the ceiling. You see, let me see if I can
Yeah. I have
They're
some
on-
clamp. I have some clamp envy going on right now. Those are some.
All right. Well,
serious
if you need to
clamps.
borrow some, I have plenty of clamps. I've been working on the application for the new normal, but I did acquire some new material that I want to show you that from an oak tree that that a friend of mine had that he had cut up in logs that was destroyed in Harvey. So I'll show you that
Wow.
how interesting this is.
Yes, I do.
here-
Oh
see,
my goodness.
These are a couple of logs from the same tree, and there's yet another one I haven't picked up yet, but I don't know if you can see it, but I plan on cutting these in, 2 or 3 inch slabs, and then making little end tables out of them, or, something to set stuff on with using some epoxy to, I don't know if you can see this, how the
Yeah.
inside of this tree is, how the center of the tree has been worn out, and then there's this space in between here.
That's some
trying to recover it.
amazing texture.
So it's just an old oak tree that was. I mean, you can see it's pretty big. It's probably I don't know, 18 inches in
Diameter.
Yeah. So
Wow. So
and
how
there's 2
thick will?
pieces.
So you're gonna like slice them. So it's
Right.
just like
Yeah,
cross
I'll
cuts
just-
of this.
Yeah, I'll slice this, and I mean it's probably almost 18 inches tall, and I'll slice it, and I'll probably end up slicing 3-inch pieces and whittle it down to about 2.5 inches.
Yeah. So that would
So
make
it makes-
that one log will make 6 tops for tables.
Right.
See, that's some efficient use of material right there, Kubi. And the fact that this is a tree damaged by Harvey, it makes a huge story and remembrance. And as
Yeah, well,
part of, go ahead.
well, the other part that's really the lower part, the other part of this log is even more beautiful than this. At least to me, it is. Maybe a lot of people don't get excited about getting a log, but I do.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir right here. I love timber. I love lumber. And the more exotic and unique and natural, the better it is. I have a real passion in my heart for reclaimed timber, and that's what this is. So just a heads up, if you have some trees on your property that you're looking to get away or get rid of, you may want to give me a call, and I can find some artists who want to help you out with that project. All right, Kubi, that's fantastic. Now, Kubi's website is Designs by Kubi, and that's COUVI.com. And his link, his name on the Rockport Studio Tour website does have a link to that website. So go for that and take a look at all of the unique work that he has available for sale.
Right on.
Well,
Right on.
I love that. I love that scruff going on there, that COVID beard coming in.
I just got a check for a table I sold at the art center today. So I had some stuff up there. So I thought the audience liked to know that they are selling stuff there.
They are selling stuff. We are adhering to social distancing, and you come in, we have plenty of hand sanitizer on site. We also have some plexiglass protecting our staff from the sales. We are not accepting cash at this time. We are accepting cash donations. You can put that in the donation box. However, we are only doing credit cards in order to make sure that our staff is safe. And we have new work, like by Kubi. I know that we have work by Vivian. We have work by Elsa there. I think there's a members gallery still going up. So come on in, stop by Estelle Star Gallery at 406 Austin Street when you're in Rockport. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and check out our artists' work there. Thanks, Kubi. That's been wonderful. Doc, who's next?
All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, moving along there. We got Vivian next. Hi, Vivian. How you doing? What you got going on?
We caught her by surprise.
We did, didn't we?
Well, I am working on the grant.
Yeah. New Normal grant, it's been extended. The deadline is extended till August 9th.
August 9th, okay.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, when I get stressed out and overwhelmed, I got to go play and clay. So I made this.
Wow.
And you can see the texture, but right after Harvey, my husband collected a bunch of beach debris and actually brought me home. I think it's the inside of a water filter for like the refrigerator. But it's a whole bunch of strings wrapped around a cylinder. So I'm through a cylinder and I rolled the filter in it.
Around.
It's really cool designs, and then I stretched the base out. So now he's messing around.
Excellent. You know, I really love the texture. Texture is becoming a theme throughout your work, as I've seen the last few months, and the variety of texture. And some of it is really apparent and vibrant, and others much more mellow and subtle, like that piece right there. It's really exciting, and to see the differences in each of your work, and to see how your work has changed and evolved over the last few months. So that is fantastic.
And with the opportunity to really throw, and if I don't like it, reclaim it, you know, because when you don't have to make something, it's kind of like some freedom to be able to not keep it, not make it be.
Not everything is precious. That's what my ceramics professor always told me. It's not precious. He made me. Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing, is I've been throwing away more, throwing back into the bucket more than I've been keeping. Trying to remember what Stan said in his video about series, doing things in a series. I used to never do, and I didn't quite get the concept, but now I'm starting to understand that that's refining technique and honing in on my abilities. So, yeah,
That's
I've been
excellent.
trying to, you see a lot of this round thing that's pushed out because that's what I've been working on. This was actually thrown as a chuck so I could turn my long neck vases upside down and trim their bottoms.
Huh.
And then when I was finished with it, I just made a vase out of it.
Well, you know, I think it's excellent that you're finding things in series. Every artist goes through themes of series. I mean, Picasso had his blue period. We've all studied Picasso in variety. He went from Fauvism to Cubism. You know, everyone evolves as their career goes, and they go and they kind of get stuck in certain things. I have a friend that he's in the sailboat period. That's all he's doing, sailboats. That's it. You know, so you go through these themes. It's just what it is. Well,
That's right.
excellent. And what's your handle on Instagram?
On Instagram, I am V Rose Pottery.
V Rose Pottery, and her name is on the Rockport Studio Tour webpage on the Rockport Center for the Arts website, and it is linking to that Instagram page. Now we're gonna go on to Deborah Cronister. Deborah,
Yeah.
just a heads up, I don't have a link for you yet. So that is one that I'll have to find out. If you can message me later and just
Great.
let me know where you want me to link, where people can see more of your work.
Deborah'sDomain.org.
Oh, well, that will happen here momentarily.
Excellent,
Go.
excellent.
What are you working on?
I also am working on the grant, and I just now successfully loaded the video that I was having trouble with earlier that I asked you and Doc about. An angel here on campus was able to translate it into another mode. And I just got word from Cafe that it was successful. Yay!
Woo! Maybe you
All
can
right.
show me when I do my application on the show.
Ah. Well, I'm afraid I
I'm
wouldn't
kidding.
need any help with the conversion. But I did get these resolved, and they are still drying, getting ready for bisque. I have a new set of 8 of these. Fingers crossed, you aren't supposed to count these when they're still greenware. But yeah, I'm really pleased with the way they turned out. And I'm
So is that
super
a
excited.
goblet for a wine
Yes.
glass?
A tipsy
Wonderful.
toasting goblet or a tipsy toasting chalice, whichever you like. And yes, they're incredibly challenging to make, and it's made of that frost porcelain that's so translucent. The light shines through it once it's fired. They're really beautiful.
Wow, that's excellent. And where can one purchase said topsy-turvy goblet?
Haha, so glad you asked. If somebody goes to my website, there's a way that they just click on the email to contact me and send me your contact information. I'll video call or FaceTime or Zoom or whatever, and you can take your pick of them. So you
Oh,
can,
wonderful.
and I have some of the smaller tumbler that are already finished. So some of the
Those little shot
tube-
glasses, eh?
yeah. I'm getting
Those
a
are
really good success rate out of the kilns lately. I'm super happy about that.
Well, let's knock on wood that you continue to have that luck with the
Yeah.
topsy-turvy goblets there.
Yes,
Exactly.
thank
Knock
you.
on wood.
Or
All
cheers.
right. Yeah, Doc, that leaves you. What do you got
That's just
going
me.
on?
I'm not doing much. I just kind of finished up, doing the new normal Rockport studio grant.
Grant, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I just been working on my house part. And so I'm finishing up another room. So just moving along.
Yeah,
That's
just
about
so
all
the
I've been doing.
audience knows, Doc is building his own house after Harvey
Yeah.
on his land here in Rockport. And so he has a whole series of products going on, and it's pretty fantastic. I love that shot, the shower tile work. I've seen a few
Oh, yeah.
pictures of it.
Well, thank you.
So yeah, well done. And that's pretty cool. Being someone who likes to do things with my hands myself, I admire the tile work.
I remember
Wow.
I like concrete work now.
Yes.
It's heavy work.
It is. It is. So, everybody, today's episode is going to be all about the application on the cafe portal. So we've had lots of people say, all right, I've got my video. I figured it out. I learned the new skill of converting a PowerPoint into a video. But again, I need to remind folks, the PowerPoint video is not mandatory. If you find it a little too rough, a little too difficult, you can just upload 3 images to the portal, and then you will be able to complete the application. But in addition, we've had some questions and concerns about the actual application. How is it working? I can't upload my videos. What are the issues here? So today we are going to submit an application. I personally am not eligible to apply for this grant, being a staff member of the Rockport Center for the Arts, as well as the fact that I am outside the area. And thirdly, I'm still getting my studio up and running, so I don't quite have everything up and going yet. With all of that together, I just reach out to the panelists and let them know that I'm submitting a fake application. But in doing so, you all can see the struggles or help guide through some of the errors that may happen as you do it. So we're going to start from the very beginning, and I'm going to lean on some of my artist cast here to help guide me through things that they've learned as well through the process. So with that, I'm going to share my screen. And here we go. And we are going to start off at the very basic. I am just on a Google page. And so with that, I'm going to go, you can see I looked up YouTube New Normal Rockport, but you can go to the Rockport Center for the Arts website, and that's rockportartcenter.com. And on here, I've made this nice nifty button right here. Some of you may have a smaller screen than I do. I have a very large screen. I have several screens going on because I'm a multitasker. And you may have to scroll down, but it's that big green button. That button leads you to the New Normal Rockport page. So if at all I'm going too fast, you guys, you let me know and I'll slow down. This has the outline of the exhibition. And first thing I want to let you know, the deadline's been extended. It's been extended. You're going to hear me say that maybe 50 times during this episode. I just want to get that point across. So instead of it being due on Sunday, it's going to be due on August 9th. August 9th, it gives us a little more time to do it. And one of the reasons is that we know that if folks have been having trouble with this application. And so we want to make sure that you have plenty of time to refine it and make it perfect or make it as good as you want to do. Now, again, you do not need to have a video. You're welcome to have a video because that gives you more space to tell your story. Some of you may have complex histories as a result of COVID-19 and Harvey, or you just have you want to show the variety of your story. And so that's where a video comes into play. But you do not need to have a video. You can simply upload the 3 images. However, do know that when you tell a story, that is very convincing. So you got to weigh your options there. So on this, it says our written proposal and personal statement. And guess what? So people started making their written proposals and they started writing their artist statements. And then when you get to the application, there's nowhere to upload your artist statement. There's nowhere to put these things. And so it got pretty confusing. So here, we're going to see how this works out. So you press apply here. That leads to this page. You know you're on the right page because it has Pam Fulcher's photo right here. Not of Pam Fulcher, it's a Pam Fulcher photo of boat. And it's the New Normal Rockport. And you scroll down here, it has more information about the grant, including the requirements. Now here, it may be a little confusing to folks, so I would like to clarify. Under requirements, it says media. Images, 1 is minimum, maximum 3. Audio, minimum 0, maximum 3. Video, minimum 0, maximum 3. And a total media is minimum 1, maximum 3. So what does that mean? It means you need to have at least 1 still image photo, 1 JPEG, 1 PNG. just one image at least. This is an image of your work, not of you, but of the work you're creating, or a fine example of your work. Think about it as your artist's biography, kind of. What would you want to be on the title page? What would you want on the cover? What would be a highlight feature? Or if you can't make a choice, what would your family choose? What would your friends choose? What would fellow artists choose? Sometimes we can't pick the best image ourselves and we need help. And this is where you can lean on your fellow artists and your friends and family to help you make that pick that out. So as secondly, it says maximum 3 images. So you could have 1 image, 1 still image, 2 still images, 3 still images. All of that is possible. But if you look at the total media, you have to have a maximum of 3. So if you choose to add a video, that means you can only do 2 images and 1 video. Or if you have 2 videos, you do 2 videos, you have to do 1 still image. The overall amount is 3 digital images. So does anyone have questions about that?
No, I think you answered that pretty clearly.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because sometimes I talk too much and then people get confused. So with that, I want people to know that there's $150,000 available to Rockport artists. That means like up to, we could have 70 people apply and have enough money for at least for all of them to get $2,000. We could have 75 people apply and everyone get 2,000. But we want an ample pool, because if there's 50, there's definitely a combination of folks that are going to get 5,000 and a bunch of people that may get 2,000. So there's a whole variety, and there's lots of money up for grabs and designated for artists who are affiliated with the city of Rockport. And so with that in mind, we encourage you to apply, because the worst case scenario is that you get told no. Best case scenario, you get money and you get to network with some amazing arts professionals who are responsible for making exhibitions of contemporary artwork here in the Coastal Bend and throughout the state of Texas. So being in front of these individuals is great. Then as we go through this, the new normal Rockport supports the creative community and economic recovery. So it's the recovery from Hurricane Harvey, the impact of COVID, and our country's current focus on eradicating systemic, I had that wrong last week, I was called out, and thank you so much, a systemic racism in our society, and how can that be addressed? Now, not everyone is going to address all 3 of these topics. You are not required to address all 3 of these topics. Maybe you didn't even live here during Harvey, but you came in after Harvey to start rebuilding because you want to be a part of our future, of Rockport's future. That's fantastic. But maybe you just have a COVID story. Maybe your spouse got laid off. Maybe you had to close your gallery and no one's coming in through your door. So it makes it pretty difficult to pay your rent. Maybe you actually came down with COVID and you are struggling with some of the consequences or after effects and recovering. And as a result, you haven't been able to make revenue. And with that, we want to help. So as for Harvey, maybe you don't have a COVID story. Maybe you are completely retired, you have your pension, you have your husband, there's no need. You're like, I'm totally fine financially. But in Harvey, the winds came in and your kiln got destroyed. Or maybe you're only able to save half of your kiln and you're still kind of fixing it up. If that's the case, this funding could help you with that little extra push to rebuild the equipment that you need to continue thriving in your artistic career. We believe that art really does heal. That's our hashtag, art heals. And as we go through all of these very stressful times, having the ability to create gets a lot of people through. It's very therapeutic. And we want to be a part of that because that's part of our story. We have some great benefactors who are connected with Rockport, who are piloting this program, including Ed and Sasha Bass. They have a vision to further empower our local arts community through grant making to encourage creativity, diversity, healing, and inclusion. Inclusion, that means we want everyone to apply. If you are fearful that you're not good enough, that you're not qualified, that you don't meet this criteria, then you're not quite feeling included. And we want you to be a part of our community. So please consider applying. As some of our artists know, you don't need a video. So if you are scared of that technology, please don't let me scare you. Please, I'm sure you have images of work that you've created, and 3 images are all that's needed. In fact, 1 image is all that's needed. If you have 1 piece of artwork that you want to show, you only have to upload that 1 image, and we'll be working on that today. So this is what we're working on. And when you're ready to apply, you press apply. All right, so I've already created an account. That is all I have done. What that means is I have created a username, like you do on Amazon, like you do for Gmail, like you do for Netflix, all of these things. I'm sure many of you have accounts with your church that you can log in on their website to participate in different Zoom meetings or calls. So with that, you just go in, you create your username, and once you have it, I've set up my Chrome browser to save my password, so I don't have to remember it quite so much. And click that you are not a robot, and you're in. It comes to this agreement. So this is the next step. And this is what you will see when you log in. So it says Gallery of Dreams is responsible for works only while they are on the premises of the gallery. Well, fortunately for us, we aren't going, none of our work is going to the actual Gallery of Dreams. They are, however, managing the application process. They are collecting the applications through Cafe Press, and then no one is going to see my username or my name. It'll just see the work that I submitted and the application. So it's very important that you don't include identifiers in your application. Does that mean you don't have to blur out your signature? If you have a piece of artwork with a signature on it, that is a-okay, just keep that going. But if you have a picture of you standing next to a piece or creating a piece, like Doc couldn't upload a picture of him with his torch as he creates a marble. That's a little dead giveaway that it's him. But at the same time, Rockport's a small town, and a lot of us know each other's work by style. On site, we can say, oh, that's a Deborah Chronister. Oh, that's a Cuvie piece. Oh, that's a Vivian Rude. Oh, that's a Anita Diebel. All of that we may be able to know, and that's just the way it is. It's how that we can't get around. But as long as you don't put your name in broad strokes everywhere, everything will be a-okay. So on this, you just want to acknowledge and agree. That leads you to the actual application. Here are these, as you can see, the fields in bold are required. So as we prepped, we encouraged everyone to have their personal statement, as well as what was the other part? Personal statement and a proposal for the project. So what does that mean? It's technically, this field says in written detail a financial need to COVID-19 crisis, demonstrating a loss of income from canceled gallery shows, loss of paid projects, unemployment, etc. And then it says, please submit a written proposal detailing how this opportunity inspires you to create and how the artwork you intend to create will support the Rockport area community as it copes with the impact of the pandemic and wrestles to address the larger social justice issues it has helped to bring to the forefront. And the images you submit should be examples of your current work. Important, please refrain from using your name or identifying information, as the juror will be selecting anonymously. Well, this is kind of confusing because we all read just a little bit, like a screen or two before, that it was a proposal and an artist statement. I would expect that when I looked at this page, this first square box would say proposal. And it doesn't. It says written detail of financial need of COVID crisis. That's a little confusing. So we're going to walk you through that. And also it doesn't say personal statement down here. It just says it's kind of unclear of what it is right here. It says here written proposal detailing, but then it says all this other stuff. So what are you supposed to do where? And that's what we're here to answer these questions. So up here, my suggestion is tell your story. How have you suffered financial need from COVID-19? So out of curiosity, if any of our artists on the cast today have ideas or concerns, please shout them out. But largely everyone on our cast for Rockport Studio Tour, they have a loss of income because the Rockport Studio Tour has been canceled. So if y'all missed it earlier in the episode, we have officially canceled the in-person event. The in-person event is for 2020 will not take place because we have had a spike in cases in the coastal bend. Not just Rockport still has under 100 cases, but just across the bridge in Corpus Christi, they are in a very dire state. And up in Victoria, they too are in a very dire state. And so at this event depends on people traveling to Rockport to see our artists. And right now we think folks need to stay home and stay safe, including our artists. And so for that reason, we are not going to have our 2020 Rockport Studio Tour, and we'll reconvene in the spring of 2021. So back to this form question. This question is pretty clear, is written detail of financial needs. So I'm gonna say Rockport, my financial need came about when the Rockport Studio Tour was canceled. And you want to make sure you go back and type this and change it. Now, as you see, I made some typos as I was typing in there. So what's nifty, or what I would suggest, is you start typing in Word. Type in a Word document or a Google Doc, something that will have identifiers of grammatical issues. I mean, it's been a while since I studied grammar, although my husband's an English professor and he helps remind me a lot. Or what is happening, or it just to compose your thoughts, as I clearly haven't done at the moment. So you want to just say, and here, the demonstrating a loss of income, canceled gallery shows count, spouses on unemployment count because your household has had a loss of income. Let's say the Rockportartcenter or had to close for a month. That is a loss of income. If you're a professor or an instructor and your classes were canceled, the university canceled classes, maybe your summer school classes didn't quite make, that is a loss of income. Doc and Anita, I know they have workshops, Stan even, they do workshops in their own studios. They invite people to come in, teach them their medium, which is gonna be awesome. You guys should need to come down and take their classes when COVID's over. But in the meanwhile, they don't have that income to supplement what they're doing right now. And as a result of that, that's a loss of income. So all of these things, some of them may affect you, some of them may not. Maybe your husband didn't lose his job, maybe your child did, and you have to go and help your child a little bit more, throw them a little more money to help them get through this crisis because they're a server or they're wait staff and they work in restaurants, and those have been closed. All of this is financial need. Now, also, it doesn't, here it says COVID-19 crisis. It doesn't mention Harvey anywhere. That's really confusing, but that is very important part of this application. So yeah, I'm not sure why this happened, but my best guess is that this program originated up in Fort Worth. And in April, the same philanthropists provided $100,000 to Fort Worth artists who were suffering from COVID. My guess is that the organization just reused this application. And although they wanted to open it up to more of the issues that are relevant to Rockport, they forgot to update the app. So just take that into account. This is also where you put how you suffered financial loss as a result of Harvey. So I've spoken to some artists. Some of them lost their homes. Some of them had to rebuild their homes. Some of them had to replace their roofs. Some of them lost jobs for a period of time because the building where they worked was destroyed. There is an artist who lost her kiln, and she and her husband had rebuilt the kiln a little bit to make it work, but every time they load that kiln, they're like, is this the last time it's going to work? We don't know. It's a surprise. And that is something that this grant helps them do. That if they receive it, they are going to rebuild their kiln so she can continue creating. And that's amazing. That's what we want to see. So there's all sorts of things that qualify under here. If it's affected you, if it's been a loss of income, or if it's strapped your finances a little more because you have to help your family and your neighbors and your community, that's what you put in here. Does anyone have questions about this?
I have a question. This section that you're in right now, the first little box, is there a limit or a minimum amount of words that you need to write?
You know, it does not say that at all. Many times grants have a character limit or word limit. Sometimes it includes spaces, sometimes it doesn't. As far as I know, there is not a limit. Has anyone who's been working on this application experienced a word limit on their application? Did you hit a limit, Doc?
I
didn't hit a
didn't.
limit. I didn't hit a limit.
Hoovy?
No, I didn't either. But you know what I did here was I typed all this up in Word, and then I just copied went to Word and copied it, and when came over here to the website and actually pasted it, it went in the spot and it allowed me to paste it into there.
Oh, and that's nice and easy, because that way you can I know that Robin was telling us that she was taking some notes, some recorded notes as she paints, as she gardens, as she walks her dogs, all of that. She'll take out her phone and just do some voice notes to help guide her of things that she wants to say. And then you can put those notes together into a Word document and you can answer these questions. Taking some time, like gathering your influences, that's really good. It doesn't need to be a rush. Now, there's others who really thrive under pressure and are waiting to that last minute, or maybe it's just a big mess in their head and they can't get anything on paper until they go and actually have the pressure to do that. That's okay too. We are not into shaming here. Everyone's creative process is different, and we want you to be included in this. The only deadline now is that it is complete by midnight on August 9th. The deadline's extended August 9th. So just make sure that it's in there. So you have 2 weeks from now to write it. And I would suggest that you only take a week to write it. And then make sure you have plenty of time to navigate this portal and submit your application. But Kubi, that is a great suggestion. Type up your answers to these questions in Word, and then you can just copy and paste. Okay. Any other suggestions from the cast? All right.
I'm good.
I do have one thing. You did say, correct, Carol, just for people that haven't heard, that this application is free, correct?
Yes, it's a free application. There is no cost. The only cost is your time to put it together. And again, you can put tons of time into this, or you can minimize the time. If you have images of your work sitting around and it just needs to be current work, you can upload 3 images, and we'll show you how to do that in a few minutes. Or you can create a PowerPoint and save it as a video. It's up to you how you want to do it. So if you're not so tech savvy, maybe call a friend, give me a call, reach out to me, drop me an email to help you out, or reach out to your niece, nephew, younger sister. I had an artist who said, my guru, AKA my younger sister, is helping me through this. Pull in those resources, pull in your grandchild, or, you know, I know one of our artists has a grandson who is pretty savvy in the music industry. I'm betting that he can help her out on making the video and recording the audio for that. These are all people in your life that are, I'm sure, are looking for things to do during this COVID crisis, and because they're your loved one, are willing to help you out. As Deborah Cronister said, she just reached out to a colleague at work who helped her convert the file and upload it. Count on your friends. That's one of the things we do in crises, is reach out and develop your relationships and partnerships, and reach out and strengthen those relationships with people who can help you out.
Carol,
All
I
right.
have a question.
Yes.
When we come up with this proposal on the next part, is it advisable to come up with ancillary activities, like, if I am part of this show, then I will, if I get the grant, if I'm part of this show, then I would like to do this sort of supportive educational activity to, help
Further the
resolve.
mission. Yeah.
Yes. Okay,
Yes.
good.
Because you can look up on our website, the Rockport Center for the Arts website, and look at our mission of what we strive to do. And a big part of our mission, our focus, is education to our community, to our audience, to our artists and our non-artists. We have lots of folks who aren't artists, who are members of the Arts Center and who support what we do. I mean, because none of us could be artists if we didn't have people who supported us and bought our work. So Deborah, I know that you have some great lectures about a variety of things that you could contribute or come down and give to our community after COVID. Or we could even, if COVID isn't over, we could probably make arrangements through these virtual opportunities to make that happen and available to our community. That is great. So in this, where the next section, as Deborah has pointed out, is about detailing how this opportunity inspires you to create and how the artwork you intend to create will support the Rockport area community as it copes with the impact of the pandemic and wrestles to address the larger social justice issues that have helped bring to the forefront. So,
I have a question about that, Carol.
All right, let me finish Deborah's question and then we'll go to you, Doc.
Okay.
So Deborah is saying, hey, you know, I'm going to make work, but I have more skills. I have other talents that can contribute to the community in different ways. And yes, if you're going to make a piece that, I'm just knowing Deborah and her background, I'm going to just use this as an example. If you have a piece that you've based off LaBelle and your LaBelle project work, and that will help inspire you for this and meets this criteria, and then you have a lecture on top of that of how that coincides, what that means is for this exhibition that will be created in the spring, you can add educational content and programming to this exhibition, and which is in the theme of the exhibition. That is of value to our community. And that teaching and that discussion can help lead us through or find ways to cope with the impact of the pandemic and the larger social justice issues. That programming does help with that, which is great, but don't forget to talk about your artwork that you're creating, because that's first and foremost. That program is just supplemental, but I would definitely include that because again, you are getting in front of a bunch of nonprofit leaders who are required to create programming. And if you say, hey, I have this great program, and let's just say for some reason or another, Rockport doesn't take you up on it, you have the opportunity to spread that to all these other organizations of the panelists on this grant. And that could lead to a lot more other opportunities. So play the long game on this. Doc, what's your question?
Okay, on this sentencing here, it says that towards the end there where it says pandemic and wrestles, that and doesn't say or. So does it mean that you have to include something that's going to be about social justice and the impact that the pandemic
Look
had?
at you dissecting the grammar here. That's excellent. And just to let you all know, the Oxford comma, I'm an Oxford comma gal because legal decisions have been made over the Oxford comma because it technically means two different things to include that. Now, what is an Oxford comma? When you make a list and you have three things, it's the comma before the and. According to Chicago style, you don't need that comma, that last comma. According to the Oxford grammatical, the English, you do use the comma. And I'm a big gal, a friend of that. And this is one of the reasons, because and or means two different things. And what we're talking about is that you don't necessarily meet all this criteria. Not everyone is going to meet all of this criteria.
And you
So
say you're not a grammar nerd, huh?
I am by default, but anyone who communicates and as you go through, you do learn these things. And my husband's rubbed off on me a little bit on it. But with this, please submit a written proposal detailing how this opportunity inspires you to create. Let's take that. And how the artwork you intend to create will support the Rockport area community as it copes. Okay, so that's how I read it. I'm going to read it literally. And it says, how is your work going to help the Rockport area community cope? And that seems pretty existential to me. Like, how can one piece of artwork affect how a community views or copes with this? And part of that is through this exhibition we will be putting together, because your work is going to be grouped with other people with their messages to come up with a collective voice of what Rockport is going through now. What Deborah is going through is not what Vivian's going through. It's not what Doc's going through. You all have your own stories and your own interpretation of it. So how the artwork you intend to create will support the Rockport area community as it copes with the impact of the pandemic. How do you all take that?
Take it
Don't
as
all shout out.
yeah, don't
all
everybody come out at once, right? So
Okay.
I take it as it copes. That's how I looked at it, was what am I doing to cope with this, whether it's the impact or the pandemic, or if it was Harvey, or it was the social justice, whatever it was, it's how I'm coping with it individually.
And I think that's a good approach, because as we're here, we are a community. A community is made up of individuals, and every individual has their own opinion, their own story, their own background, and together it comes with how the community is coping. All of our individual stories together create the story of the Rockport community. So I think that's a really good approach. That's one approach of how it's going to help you, how you are coping with it. Because we've talked to several people throughout this pandemic through the Rockport Studio Tour Live. I remember Diane was like, you know what, I'm really doing all right, outside the fact I realize I'm not listening to my books on tape as much and listening to news a lot more. That's the difference. But creating artwork helps me cope. As we said, art heals and art helps relieve stress. Art relieves pressure. I mean, how many times have we heard Vivian say is, when I get stressed out, I need to go play in the mud. I need to go play in the clay. And that helps. So if going out and painting helps, or Robin, going out in your garden and capturing images on the camera that you later come and paint. I mean, earlier, you were showing us earlier a photo of the clouds on your drive. If you're going out and you can't talk to people, but I have taken to a nice Sunday afternoon drive personally because I need to get out of my house. And that's a way that I cope. And what I read into that, and don't let me put words in your mouth, is you're finding beauty where you can. With so much going on in this world, so much negativity everywhere, you find comfort in your art and you find comfort in creating. And in doing that, it helps you cope. So that may be Robin's story. Doc, is it how you cope? Is it creating art help you cope through this?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's some of it. The other part is, I offer classes to individuals and I also offer classes to veterans. And that's what I put in there too, as well, is the things that I am not able to do, as well as the things I'm able to create as well.
Yeah, and if you do have, I know Anita has continued her classes, but adapted it by using Zoom, adapted it by gathering outside, socially distanced apart on her patio outside her studio, but still gathering. Instead of having a class where they all create artwork in her studio, instead she ends her Monday sessions assigning a challenge. And then when her class meets again the following week, they discuss what they made throughout that week of that challenge. It's how she coped. She's a very social person and missed that social interaction. And so she adapted in order to create this. And at the center of it was art and was creating. And that's a great message, because if the message of all of our artists is cope through creating and creating beauty out of all of this negativity around us, that's an amazing message. Is that helpful? Yeah. Oh, Barbara, what is your question?
Well, I was just going to make a comment on kind of narrowing that painting. I'd already started at the very beginning of this epidemic. I'd started a series on social distancing.
Yes, you talked about several episodes during Artist Roll Call. She has showed her social distancing.
Yeah, and then also wetlands. So I was thinking if I continued those two themes and, went into like isolation or self-realization, things that people are doing now, once we've social distanced, now we're actually we're alone, we're by ourselves, we're thinking, we're just reflecting, that this could be the continuation of that. So several series connected to people's feelings about COVID. And
I think that's great, because many people look to art as a way to, one, escape or to resonate their own emotions. Yeah. And I mean, Barbara, you're not the only one who's dealing with isolation. I think we all are. And as we're going through that, it's nice to see that emotion is reflected elsewhere and that you're not alone in this emotion. Others are feeling it too. I think that's a great interpretation of this question.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So as you can see, there's different ways to approach it of how you're going about, and not a single way is wrong. This is kind of vague, and it's vague on purpose so that you can interpret it. Because I'll tell you, I don't know about you, but if someone came in and told me how to do my artwork and told me what message to create, I'd be pretty frustrated, and I'd be like, what am I, working in advertising? Because that's what you do. But as you can see, I'm not sure if you see this, but at a pop-up window, you will be timed out if you leave your application while we talk. So make sure you move your mouse around so you don't get timed out. But if that happens and you haven't hit the save, that's where it's helpful to have written your application in a Word document. So you can go ahead and do that. Other people have been really influenced by what's happening throughout the world in politics and really find a passion with it. And regarding diversity, I know that there's one photographer in town who is a mixed background, and she mentions in her narrative about how she uses her art as her income. She's a photographer, so she takes portraiture. And here in Rockport, a lot of her clients are very wealthy and are generally white. And so she, being a mixed background, feels a little separated from this. And what she would love to do is to show the diversity of our community. And that's amazing. So she was given the opportunity to create artwork without needing that income. So the financial freedom to create, the message she would like to do is highlight the diversity within Rockport, because there is so many individuals from the South Pacific and Asia and shrimpers, and everyone's coming here for different reasons to the coastal bend. And we don't always think about that. We want to highlight everyone. It's about inclusion and inclusivity. So that's one way of discussing that. But you don't have to get political. If you are like, I'm not really a political person, or you don't really want, in my family, I have different opinions than a lot of my family. And I come from a large family of 5 sisters, and all of us have different opinions. We were raised to all be independent and have our own opinions. And sometimes you just have to let things go at Thanksgiving and not really talk about those differences. Instead, focus on what you have in common. And right now, what we have in common is that we're a community of artists, and we're all going through the isolation. We're all going through different things, and we can all relate to it. And it doesn't have to create adversity. It can create healing and compassion and remind us that we are all humans and we're all together in this, on this blue ball of earth, and that we're all going to be moving forward with it. So think about what you have in common with this, not necessarily how you're different. Because if you think about how you're different, then you're not talking about inclusion. You're talking about exclusion, of how you're exclusive. But we want to focus on how you fit into the community of Rockport. Okay, so through here, you want, the big thing is you don't want to include any identifying information. So I'm going to refrain from Carol Stewart. Grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. This is a no-no. Don't include this. Don't this. I mean, if you want to, that makes me completely known. But if I said I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago and came to Texas as fast as I could, that's a little different. Not everyone grew up here. And a lot of people, especially in Rockport, grew up somewhere else. Additionally, there's a lot of people who grew up right here in Rockport. That also is not exclusive. But you may not want to say, I grew up at this address in this house that's very well known everywhere in the community. Just stay out of that. But if you grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, or you grew up in Victoria, or you moved here whenever, you followed your parents here, as long as you're not saying who your parents are, where they are exactly, that is all pretty good. And then, you can talk about where you studied. I actually have a studio art degree from University of Illinois. And I focused on sculpture. So that would be good to include here. But I have friends right here in Rockport, amazingly successful artist friends who never went to college or art school. They've studied here, they've studied there, they've taken classes at art centers, they go out and paint, they do a variety, they have mentors, but not a structured education. And if that's the case, you can include that as well. Talk about your career, how long you've been painting, maybe the evolution of your career, how you started or how you got to where you are. Or if you went to school like I did, include your degree. Talk about that and talk about how your work reflects your background. Everyone's story is different and everyone's story is valid. For instance, Vivian just started 5 years ago in her garage and started playing with clay. And she is pushing herself every day. Doc got started because his wife wanted an expensive piece of jewelry. And he was like, hey, I can do that. And he saw it as a challenge and it turned into a career. So whatever your personal story is, just stick with that and be authentic. Any other questions about this or how you've approached the answer to this question?
I think you covered it pretty well there.
All right. So after you have this all in, you want to save. Make sure it's finished or complete. Now everyone know that there, as far as we are aware, there is not a character limit or a word count limit. Please take in consideration that we are anticipating 50 to 75 applications. And with that, you want to respect the panelists' time. So any way to be concise, clear, and succinct. You don't want to upload a book. You know, this isn't your autobiography. This is just what you're planning to do in the next few months.
Yeah.
And so you want to just kind of keep it like a cover letter, kind of like you were applying for on a resume or a job application. I would stick to a page of text. A page of text is about 250 words. So that gives you an idea, but it can be as much as 400 or 500 words. That's fine. Now, words are different than characters. So when you're starting to measure, just kind of get a guideline of where you are. Maybe read aloud or ask a family member or friend to read it and see how long it takes them so that you can understand, one, get their opinion if it's clear and concise, or sometimes when you're looking at a document, you're going to ignore a grammatical error because it just looks normal to you after so long. You need a fresh set of eyes to help you along. So I'm going to submit this, and everyone on the panel knows that mine is not required. But check this out. Application error. Required items marked in red. So let's take a look. Well, I have something there that's not red. Up is down here in my portfolio. So let's talk about the portfolio. If you see, it's not as easy as just uploading here in each section. That isn't quite so easy. Instead, what CAFE does, and let me explain the logic behind this. The CAFE website stands for callforentry.org. So organizations all across the country and internationally can use this portal, and they sign up, and then it allows for artists like us to submit applications. And in doing so, to make it anonymous, CAFE then removes all of those indicators that it's you and submits your application to the organization organizing the event. So there are hundreds of opportunities on this page. So after you submit the new normal Rockport grant, you may want to take a look around to see if there's other shows that you qualify for, exhibitions that you can participate in, especially remotely during this time, or just other opportunities to make your career as an artist. And so this is just one avenue of you can do. So the idea is that I had to create my username, and that was my account. Now I have to create the portfolio associated with this account. To give an analogy, it's like when you have your Facebook account and you can go and check out all your pictures or all your videos. And it's a different page where you can basically make a whole album just for this, for your Facebook. And then you can segment on your Facebook into like Carol's birthday party or Doc's grand opening or Robin's exhibition opening or whatever. You can make categories of your information. That is my understanding. But for this, we want to this is where you upload your media. So to back up, oops, of course, give me just 1 second to get back in. So that will happen. Oh, check it out. So I got kicked out. What do you do? Well, I just refreshed my window and it brought me back to my account. And it says that I have my new normal call that's due October 9th. It's been extended October 9th and it started. So if I want to complete this, I look in here and it brings me back to the application. So if that happens, that's all you need to do is log back in and it'll show you what applications you have in progress. Then you go to your portfolio and you want to upload media. So when you upload media, you have to choose your file. So what am I going to pick? I am going to go to our studio tour YouTube Live. And I'm going to upload this graphic that I made because one, it's an example and this is a fake piece. This is a fake application. I am not applying for the grant, but it is a file. So you have to upload at least one still image. Now this image, we've had people upload their artwork. So if Barbara is uploading a painting, she would upload let's say the painting you had today. Let's use the dimensions of your painting, Barbara. So how big is your painting?
I don't see.
Yes.
There she is.
Okay, she's measuring, and I'm
Yeah.
guessing it's
She got to
20.
unmute. Let me get
You have
her.
to unmute.
Let me try that. There she goes.
How big is that painting, Barbara?
20 by 20, you just measured it.
It's 20 by 20. And what would you title that piece?
I haven't titled it yet, so I would just say
Untitled.
untitled. How's that?
And you said the medium is oil and cold wax. Okay, and you said it's 20. And you can see here, you can do inches, feet, centimeters, or meters. We're gonna use inches, and width is 20 inches. And how deep is that? So if you have a canvas, you wanna measure the depth. Some canvas is very, very thick, some is little.
Canvas. This is it's called a wood cradle, and it's stronger than a canvas for the oil and cold wax. It needs more structure, but this is 1.5 inches.
So I updated the medium to be oil and cold wax on wood cradle.
Yes.
And then it is 1.5 inches. So I'm a fan of decimals personally, because not everyone can do the math right off the top of their head. Sometimes it looks weird when you're typing it into something like Notepad or something.
Yeah.
Well, I personally like decimals, but again, I like the Oxford comma, and it's not for everyone. So do what is right for you. All right, so let's say you can make a value. Now, for instance, I know that one artist, as their image, uploaded their kiln. And so they put the dimensions of their kiln there because they were taking a picture of one of the things they need. There's a lot of variety to this application, and people are interpreting it the way they need to interpret it. So do what you feel is right for you. So since we're doing this image, where I'm just going to make up a price, I'm going to say $600 for that piece. And you're completed. Well, they want current work. That's pretty important to them. Now, if you're showing a piece of equipment, you may want to include the year that it was created. Like if you built the kiln in 2007 and now it's destroyed, you can say 2007 for that kiln. But in your application, it will explain why you have a picture of the kiln. Here, this is recent work because we're looking at kind of what you're going to be doing moving forward. Yes. Because this grant, you have to use examples of what you've already done to show or demonstrate what you're going to do. So this was completed recently in 2020. Primary discipline. Well, okay, I'm putting in a painting, I have a digital artwork, but my personal primary discipline is, let's see if they don't have sculpture. Here we go. Oh, sculpture. That's mine, but that doesn't mean I don't do other things. Like Barbara, she does painting, but she may dabble in something else. Vivian does mostly clay, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't work in like, I don't know, jewelry every now and then. Or I know she sews, so she may do some fabric every now and then. Deborah can mix up her mediums on occasion. And let's say, and personally me, I work in wood and I work in limestone. So sculpture is a nice group for that. Is it art in public spaces? No, I don't have art in public display spaces. But here, since we're kind of doing a fictional piece based on Barbara's work right now, the description is that, how would you describe your piece?
I would say it is an abstracted landscape, and it evokes image of water, perhaps marsh lands, and perhaps marshlands and rocky
and
coast.
water of our a rocky coast. Similar to those in the coastal bend.
There you go. Yeah.
Notice how I took this and brought it back to Rockport.
Yes.
You know, of talking of how this is going to go back. Now, I mean, Deborah, you have your vessels, your goblets, your stuff, and jokingly, you know, drinking can help some people get through some tough times, but it's not always something I recommend. But it is a way to often with your goblets or food or teapots even, these vessels are reasons for people to gather, whether it is to take part in a feast, to celebrate an accomplishment, to enjoy a fine bottle of whiskey or something, a fine bottle of wine, that you want to do that with others. And so the fact that you're creating vessels that you can't really partake in that at this time is an interesting concept, because it relates to how we are going to be able to gather again in the future, how we will be able to resume these traditions that we've had for generations. We just can't at the moment. So I find such vessels very hopeful, because it talks about that this is going to be temporary and we will be able to gather again. We will be able to have this exhibition. So whether it's how you craft it, how it's so thin and fragile, as well as sturdy and can hold a lot of liquid, it's symbolic of our society, of what's going on right now, that as we can see with all the crises going on, our society can be fractured. It can seem to dissolve before our eyes. And it is fragile, but at the same time, it's through gentle approach, through care, through craftsmanship, through creativity, that we create our society and our community. And it's by giving attention to our artwork, giving attention to the messages that each of us are feeling as we go through this crisis, that we together are going to create the message for what our community of Rockport is doing every day now moving forward. So think about how you can apply what you're doing. It may not seem apparent on the surface, but when you start talking about layers of paint, of how maybe a problem doesn't appear right away. At first you think it's one thing, and then as you progress and go down the path, it becomes something else. That reminds me of Barbara's work. That reminds me of Robin's work, is that as you add layers of painting, as you add, as you scrape away, as you abstract a landscape or take a picture, you put your own thumbprint, your own fingerprint on what you are creating, the image appears, the message appears. So think about that. Vivian, what I'm thinking about your work is that you're creating and exploring yourself internally and externally. You're looking at what's on the surface of things, of texture and pattern, and that changes over time. That texture that you're revealing to the community and society is different as your emotions change. And maybe it's a little rough around the edges at first, but some of those rough textures, and I mean rough around the edges because you're just learning, you're just learning your craft and you're exploring and growing. is that it becomes more evolved and your message becomes more clear. I love how this time of isolation that you've been challenging yourself to learn new skills. You've been pushing yourself each week to develop and not let isolation or COVID restrict you from becoming the best you. That is fantastic. So think about what you're personally going through and then apply it. And if you're struggling with this concept or something, give me a call. Let's talk it out, because I'm sure something is going to appear. What's up, Deborah?
Carol, I have a pragmatic question. Has anybody figured out how to go from the My Portfolio section back to the new normal Rockport? Because I can't find it on my cafe entries. So what I'm doing is I'm going into I've gone into the Rockport Center for the Arts website again. I'm opening it up again, and I'm just going to put kind of la 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 in here and see if it'll save it, and then I'll go back and change it. Yes?
Maybe. As far as I know, this is the first time I've gotten this far into this. So
Okay.
let's see what happens. So I'm adding this and I'm doing add to my portfolio.
Yeah.
So here we
Oh.
are.
Yeah.
It's telling me that this is an invalid app.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
it'll make me put something in every spot, so I better not.
All right.
I think I'll just
It,
go back.
it
This is
does.
what I did. Yeah, it makes, go on. Doc, I'm
And you are
sorry.
able to delete this too. So keep in mind that when you are going to upload this portion here, it's actually on Cafe, not the actual grant section. So you'll have an opportunity to go back and delete or correct what you've done in the past before you upload it to the grant.
All right. So we're here. And this is what I see after I press save. And it has this nice green encouraging window that says success. Your image was added to your portfolio. That is reassuring. So hopefully that you're all experiencing the happiness and celebration of the green box, because it's very frustrating when it kicks you back and says you've missed something. But just stick with it and get there. So as I'm looking of how to get back to the application, I see this option. We can upload. I'm guessing that's to upload my second image or my video. I go here.
Well, you'd go back to your portfolio.
Oh, so I go back to my portfolio.
And then that will take you there and you'll see your image.
All right.
And you can upload a new media.
So let's this time see if we can do a video. Not sure I have a video going on right now. I'm trying to think of somewhere where I have that. Here, let's see. I'm just thinking real quick. Oh, here we go. Sorry, y'all. I should have had this video ready to go. I feel I have this video here. Chamber sponsor stats, YouTube event settings. All right, maybe I have it here. No, I don't. All right, but if you had a video, you would follow the same thing and upload that video. Oops, excuse me. Hold on. And you would enter in.
We have to change it from image to video.
Okay, so up here, you would go up here and you do video. And notice the form changed.
That's correct.
So you can choose your file. And look, you can have a WMV, you can have a MOV. So if you're an Apple user, MOV is going to be your friend. I've learned that over this past week. Or an MP4. So if you have an older version of PowerPoint or a Mac, you may have issues finding it, but a Mac, an MOV file will work just fine. So you can get that. So if you have an iPhone that you're recording your video on or something like that, this is what you can do. What other things do people need to be aware of about uploading a video? Because I know you've done a couple, Doc.
The minimum resolution there, that's key. You can't go below that resolution. If you
And how
upload
would
an
someone
MP4, say it again.
Sorry, how would someone know the resolution?
Well, you're going to hover over the movie or the MP4 or the MPEG-4 that you're going to submit. If you hover over it from your desktop or wherever you have it at, it's going to tell you how many megabytes it is and the resolution that it's in.
Mm-hmm.
If it does not, and when you hover over it, then you can right click on it and get the description of it. If you're in a Mac, you'd single click on it and go to the description of it.
Yes. Now here, this is formatted as if it was a videographer. Let's say you had a performance artist, or let's say up at Fort Worth, they did performing arts were eligible. Here it's visual arts. So if you were a dancer, this form was created that you could upload a video of you dancing. But that's not the case here. We are limited to the visual arts on this application. And the video is an example of your work, or maybe a story of your work, or a PowerPoint converted to that, or a video of an exhibition you had. That's all opportunities. Let's say you had an exhibition last year and you on your phone went around and scanned the room slowly, highlighting your work. That would be a great video to upload. But if with the PowerPoint and things, you're gonna be looking at this and you're like, I don't know, this isn't worth anything. I'm not going to sell this PowerPoint video. Well, I don't know what to value it as. Value it at 0. Value it at your time. The value of the video doesn't necessarily matter, because what you're using the video for is to tell your story and to show your portfolio. So I know Juliana had asked a question earlier about, well, if I'm making my video, should I put the title and measurements and price of the work on each slide of the PowerPoint? The title, the measurements, that would be okay, but you don't have to do that, because some people don't need to do that. But when you're looking at a slide, realize that the perspective, a piece that maybe like Elsa showed earlier that was on, a 4x6 piece of aluminum on a slide looks about the same size as maybe one of Barbara Sparkman's aluminum paintings that she turned into a coffee table. On the slideshow, it looks the same size, and you don't know the perspective of how big that is. You just know the proportions of the image. So if size is important, oh man, that sounds bad. But if size is important, then you can go ahead and put those measurements in, but you don't have to. Again, this is up to your interpretation. But I can see possibly for Deborah doing 3D, or Vivian doing 3D work, you may want to say this vase is 6 inches. This vase is 34 inches. This goblet is 12 inches, but these shot glasses are 2 inches. Just to have perspective of how big those pieces are. If you work in a variety of sizes, you're putting a whole bunch of work together, that may be helpful. If you do that, make it like a museum label, title, size, just the basic information, and realize that this slide is only going to be up for 3 or 5 seconds until it goes on to the next image. So just make sure that people can read it. You don't want to put a biography on the slide of like 20 words and the panelists aren't able to read that quickly. Just keep that in mind. So I could see for Vivian and Deborah, you can just put, vase or vessel or goblet, and maybe a wine goblet will give perspective of size, or a flower vase will give perspective of size. Chapbook, maybe you want to put it's 8 inches by 8 inches or 4 inches by whatever, because that would let you know. And that's in the slideshow movie. If you're uploading just a still image and making it easier on yourself, you get to put all of that information in this form. So you don't have to worry. You just have to give the image, and then you can fill out this form, and that will complete the information required for it. So I am not going to upload this video, and I'm like, but how do I get back? Well, let's see. Let's try the back arrow. Oh, it worked that time. How else can I get around?
That menu right there in the middle. My cafe, my profile, my portfolio. You can go to my profile. It'll take you back to the beginning.
Oh, so if I go to, so here's an answer to your question, Deborah, is you're in the portfolio. How do you get back to the application? You can go to my profile. It comes here into this. Well, all right. Well, that's update. That doesn't give me.
You need to go to my cafe entries.
Oh, so you go to my cafe entries.
There you go. And there it is.
Here, it has this one that started. So if you haven't put things into those copy or text into those fields, it may not consider your application as started. So you may need to go back in. So some folks, how I've heard is that it's helpful to come in, create your login, and then start with your portfolio. And you can upload your images to the portfolio or your videos to the portfolio, and then go to the application, copy and paste your items into these fields, because then here, if you see, it says 1 to 3 images. If you added your video, it would appear also next to here. If you, let's say you uploaded 7 images to your portfolio, that's great, that's fine. You can use those for other applications possibly, but for this one, you have a maximum of 3 files that you can check. So you would check the ones that apply. So these are the images. Your video samples would show up here. And if you had audio samples, let's say this was also open to musicians, which it isn't, but if you had music and only music, you could upload this. So if you had an interview of you on the radio and you were able to bleep out or edit out your name or identifiers, then you would be able to include that file here in the audio sample. Just realize that you have to take out your name to do so. Here, video, if you have a news story, if you are able to edit out your name or your face, then you can go ahead and do that. But that's pretty difficult, and not all of us have that skill set. And trust me, I would have to watch a lot of YouTube in order for me to be able to complete that myself. So images may be the way to go for you. You just have to upload 3 images, copy and paste your copy here and here. And then after that, you press save. And here it says, I'm ready to check out. So what that means is there are exhibitions and there are festivals, for instance, Art Festival, where if you're applying to be a vendor at Art Festival, there is a fee for processing your application. Here, there is no fee. It is completely free. And so what you can do is you can say, I'm ready. Here you can preview. You want to see, it gives my name, it gives my answers, and it gives the image. And as you see, I only uploaded 1 image and it's allowing me to check out. You do not have to do 3. It's just suggested that you do 3. And so with this, I say, yep, you know what? I'm ready to check out. And boom, I press check out. It comes here. It says where it's headed to Fort Works Art. Total 0. That's right. It's free to apply. And then you press check out. So here, nothing is happening. And then you press submit entry. And here is your receipt. So you can print this receipt, which if you do, You can print it into paper, or as I have mine set up, I can save it as a PDF. So I don't have to print it. I press save, and I'm going to put it in. And here I have 2020 new normal. Where is that? All right, well, I'm just going to save it here. This is a good place as any. And boom, I have it done and the application is complete. So when you're actually doing the application, it's a matter of just making sure your files meet the requirements that it says. Your video is not over 100 megabytes. And if you have a audio file, it's not over 25 megabytes. And then your images, and you can go ahead and upload that. Now, after this, you can go to apply to calls. And I suggest you do this because, hey, you already have an account. You can go through. There's the Alaska Biennial. There's City Foundry of St. Louis, that's STL. Temporary Public Artwork. There's all of these options that now you have this account, you can apply to any and all of these. Some of them have a fee, like this one in California Dreaming has a $30 fee. So don't worry about that if you're not applying, but you can at least scan these and find another way to expand your career and your artist network by taking what you've learned, applying for the New Normal grant, and applying to other grants and other opportunities. So I'm going to stop my screen share. Yes, Robin had a question about if we have to worry about signatures on painting. Don't worry about signatures on paintings, because you just do that. Just take a picture, nice picture, straight on of your artwork. Make sure it's well lit, and that it's great. Now, if your painting was your signature, like if you did an Andy Warhol type thing and that was your signature, that would be an issue. But if it's just one of those landscapes you have behind you and you have your picture, your signature, don't worry about that.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any other questions before I wrap up? So if not, what I'm going to say is a couple things. This is our last episode of the Rockport Studio Tour Live. We're going to take August off, and we'll be back in September for season 2, the start of season 2 of Rockport Studio Tour. And it's going to have a slightly different focus. Rather than only highlighting artists on this event that was supposed to take place in April and now has unfortunately been canceled until 2021, we are going to open this opportunity up to all members of the Rockport Center for the Arts. The only qualification is that you have an active membership with the Rockport Center for the Arts. And if you don't know if you do, call me. I manage that database and I can help you out. If you don't have one, I can help you purchase one. Memberships start at $50, and that's for the entire year, and 12 months of programmatic services, as well as the opportunity to create your own YouTube episode on our channel, including one we do record it and air it. We can set it up to air on your personal website as well as your Facebook page, in addition to the Rockport Center for the Arts page. We can brand it multiple places so that you have this video, an example of you doing a demonstration or showing your work, available for years to come. So this is an opportunity coming out as a membership benefit. It's a way we're adapting membership during a time of COVID so that we can still be there and still provide community for every artist in the Rockport community. Secondly, the new normal. If you haven't realized yet, the new normal grant application for Rockport has been extended to August 9th. So you have 2 more weeks to watch these 3 videos, episode 14, episode 15, and this episode 16, in order to make this happen. And if you have problems viewing it or finding it on YouTube, please reach out to me. I will send you direct links. Is there anything else I'm missing, Doc?
No, I didn't have any questions in the YouTube page. I just wanted to make sure that you didn't have any questions on the Facebook page.
Nope, I didn't see any. I have, I saw that you asked Facebook as well, because I have a nifty chat box. But no, I don't have any questions. And so
Great.
for that, thank you so much, everyone, for watching us in our first season, our inaugural season, as we adapted to what's happening in Rockport. This is one way that we have done that. And as we move forward, we look so forward to you being a part of our community, virtually and in person, as we progress. So if you have questions about this episode, please reach out to us. You can reach me at karol@rockportartcenter.com, or you can give us a call at 361-729-5519, and they will put you in touch with me directly. And we hope that you all are safe and sound, your families are safe and sound, and we look forward to the time we can gather again. Until September, thank you from all of us to all of you. See you all later.
Thank you.
See y'all later. Thanks for
Bye.
joining.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.